All right, so we're taking a look at WizzGamer on YouTube's 6.3 million viewed already video from 6 years ago, the top 25 1980s arcade games, and we're going to watch along and comment on it.
And you can find the link to the original video in our description below.
Number 25 is Super Hang-On from 1987. You remember playing this?
Yeah, I remember playing it. It's got the handlebars right on the console.
Yeah, so you actually felt like you were actually on a motorcycle when you were 10 years old, like, ah.
Yeah, even as an adult, when I go to the mall and play it, it feels like, I mean, I'm sure you can only move it a certain amount to the left or right, but you always had a tendency to lean all your body weight into it, like it would actually make a difference.
And did it have pedals or you'd have
No, it had the throttle where you would actually spin it, counterclockwise.
Yeah, I remember playing it. It looked, sort of like pole position, but on a motorcycle. Number 24 is Zaxxon, 1982. This one, I had to remind myself what it was. It was like a vector type game.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny because they had like this well-defended fortress, but they
No,
always had a little space in each wall, just with perfect size for your ship to fly through.
yeah, but I'm especially going up and down though. That was tough on a 2D screen.
Yeah, but it felt 3D, and which was crazy for like early 80's.
Yeah, definitely. It was sort of like Galaga, something like that, except you were actually able to fly. So that was pretty cool. Number 23 is Paperboy, 1984, which we remember playing on a Nintendo. But definitely, like in the arcade, it was always exciting when if you could make the obstacle course at the end.
Right. And that was another one that had like the handlebars in the console.
Right. And that
I
one I
always
felt
actually
like
felt
was
this was kind of like a little kid version of GTA back in the day.
oh right, you're like
You had
trying
like
to
this little side quest, and you could like become the bad guy and then
try to
throw
throw
the
it, yeah,
papers at, yeah, break
throw it at the wrong
windows.
thing or people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd lose. But oh, just put in another quarter. So number 22, we have Fantasy Zone. This is not one I remember very well.
This is not one I have in memory at all.
Yeah, so I don't know if this was a regional type game. I mean, it's
Would you even consider this a side scroller?
well, I mean, it's definitely like the action of the screen is going to the side. Um,
Right, but it seemed
so
like he could also kind of go back the other way.
yeah, well, to the side,
Okay, but
the other
this other
side.
side, yeah,
So
very
yeah,
cartoony.
yeah, I was. I mean, the art it's very colorful, but like
Oh,
I have
come on.
no
I
memory.
could draw this and I have no artistic ability.
Well, number 21, we have Pole Position, 1982. Now, this one I loved. As a kid, I would wait for the turn and then I would spin the wheel and I'd
Right.
go into the
You know
grass
what?
and come back.
Yeah. You know what made this one so realistic even as a kid
What's
was
that?
the
Crashing?
road signs had actual products on them. You had
Oh, like
Pepsi, you
Pepsi,
had like
right?
I think Marlboro, like for smoking. You had I think Canon camera. I saw in the video.
Right.
So that definitely like
Yeah, the turn
even as
signal.
a, but it definitely gave it like more of a like realism, just because you had like real companies advertising.
Oh, definitely. And I would always pick the easiest track to play. So number 20, we have Rampage, which I mean is really like a sick game. Like you're eating people, you're
Well,
seeing
you're
people in the
eating
shower.
people. If your health goes down, if you wanted your health to go up, you had to
Right.
grab people and eat them.
And like you're leveling buildings and they're crumbling to the ground and who knows how many people are in those buildings. But it was so much fun. And I remember when we used to play together, we'd be like, you don't hit me, I won't hit you, and it'd just be like
I wonder how much. if they could have made more money if they just called it like King Kong and Godzilla. But I bet the
Uh,
licensing fee would have been too much.
I think that would have been way too much. At number 19, we have Defender. Now,
Now,
this is
this is a
one
side scroller.
I can't remember if I played this or if I used to watch people play it. Like because I would have
I
been
know. So
so
I've
young.
yeah, I played it as an adult in the retro arcade at the mall, and
It,
it's so hard.
I was gonna say it looks like the kind of thing
It's
where I
just
get
so
very
hard.
frustrated. Like
Yeah.
just, I mean, it looks like fun because there's so much stuff coming at you, but that would be tough. Number 18, we have Rainbow Islands, the story of Bubble Bobble. Now, I remember playing Bubble Bobble, not necessarily Bubble Bobble 2.
I did play this in an emulator years ago,
Okay.
and what was funny about it was it actually almost seemed to be more than just action. Like there was a little bit of strategy with how like you could capture things or like you know, but it for such a simplistic looking game. But I don't know
It's
what the
pretty
rainbows
cute.
have to do with.
Well, maybe those, eventually become bobbles. I don't know. It's colorful. Number 17, we have Donkey Kong, 1981. I remember playing this on our Texas
Texas
Instruments.
Instruments. I knew
Yeah,
you were
and
going to say that.
I believe the Texas Instruments might have had two extra levels, but
Yes.
they were it was a lot of fun, especially playing this one with the fire, and you
I
do
always
one
wondered
side.
why Donkey Kong didn't destroy all the ladders because he probably didn't need a ladder to crawl from level to level because he
No,
looks
that's
tall
true.
enough to just they would
Climb
save them a
without a
lot of
ladder.
heartache.
Yeah, why do you leave those hammers too?
And if Mario was a plumber, why didn't he use wrenches instead of hammers?
I don't know. Number 16 is Shadow Dancer. I don't really know this one.
This one was kind of like the the predecessor to Shinobi, and you
Okay,
had a
it looks
dog
like it.
with you. You had a dog with you, but the dog would just sort of scare the bad guy into freezing. Like it would, you couldn't send the dog, and half the time you spent just saving the dog. So it was kind of like, does it really help to? I mean, it's nice to have a dog in real life. I don't know, but if there's just a dog that you constantly have to save from peril in a video game, it's not necessarily helping you.
Well, it adds to the difficulty level. Graphics look pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's when you're getting toward that late '80s.
All right, number 15, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Quarter Guzzler.
Yeah,
You
what's
know,
funny is I
like
feel like that was you would just fight with your friends with like who's gonna be Leonardo.
right. And like you would just like you want to do like a cool jump attack, or it always felt good when you would like hook them with your sword and you would throw them over your head.
Yeah.
But like
I always I
when
remember
the
wanting
bosses,
to be
go ahead.
I remember wanting to be Donatello because he had the biggest reach with the staff.
Right. And then you would just eat up quarters going against the bosses, and they would start flashing. It was like, I'm getting them, I'm getting them, and it'd be like, beep, 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 beep. It's like, oh, another quarter.
But that was cool.
Oh,
That you could play with three other people.
oh yeah. Well, number 14 is Space Harrier, and is another one I don't recognize. This one looks kind of 3D-ish. Not sure if
It's funny when we said side scroller. What kind of scroller would this be?
front scroll. And actually, that's what I mean. It looks more like it's
Yeah.
coming. The action's coming at you. It's probably a trick. I think they're just using things getting bigger rather than actual scrolling. But yeah, this one I've never seen.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
So number 13, we have Double Dragon, 1987. Speaking of, I remember with a friend of ours getting to the end, and we were like, "Yeah, we did it!" And then it was like we had to fight each other, and I just
Fight
picked
each
up a
other.
bat,
Yeah,
and I just beat him. And I remember
yeah,
after that, I was like, "Hey, remember when we beat Double Dragon?" I was like, "We didn't beat it.
right.
I know you
I
paid a
remember
lot of quarters."
I remember being very excited to get it on Nintendo, and then you couldn't even play two players.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it looked so much worse. But like I remember the anticipation of waiting for that to come out on Nintendo and thinking you were going to have this version of it. And the Nintendo version was playable in the end, but
Playable,
it
yeah.
wasn't great.
I remember renting it at the video store.
So Chase HQ coming in at number 12 here. I don't really remember this because it seems like another generic car racing game. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of like you play a cop and you have to ram the bad guys off the road.
oh, okay. Which is what I was doing in pole position, except then I was
You
crashing.
weren't supposed to, right?
Right. Well, that actually seems like fun. You know, there's a little bit of a GTA predecessor, right?
Yeah, you play like a like sort of a rogue cop that you ram all the bad guys.
So number 11 doesn't have the name. Can you name it?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
can't.
Shinobi.
It is
It's
Shinobi. I
Shinobi.
thought so,
Yeah,
but I didn't. I don't want to say Shinobi and be wrong. Um,
yeah.
so
And
this is the
full
other game without a
disclosure,
dog.
if you watch the video, it flashes Shinobi right before it flashes the number that it is in the ranking.
Yeah. So I've played other Shinobis because you know there was other maybe Shinobi 2.
Yeah, and
And
I think you also played it on computer.
yeah, so it looked familiar, but I wasn't
But the
sure.
arcade Shinobi, that guy, if he gets hit once, it's game over. There's no energy bar.
So this one, you know, obviously Galaga is you know, one of the original. Um, you know, there's a game I more think of Centipede when I think of these types of games,
Yeah.
but they were
Well,
this
this was
was
like really early 80's.
yeah.
But
This we would
what
have
set this apart was like the AI had like little maneuvers it would do, like more so than Centipede was very
followed up
uh,
pattern.
it felt, yeah, a very set pattern that you could learn, but this one kind of threw you for a loop with
I
like
mean, look at all the things
maneuvers.
coming at you.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 9, we've got Golden Axe. Now, was this a game that was on
I
uh,
feel like it was on
Sega?
Sega.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember playing this on Sega. I don't. My memory of this game is in arcades. Maybe
That would be
a
at like
version of
friends'
this.
houses.
Yeah, and
You know what it reminded me like like Double Dragon, but like in a fantasy land. So it's
yeah,
sort of like um double
Double
dun
Dragon
it's
on a dragon.
uh, I was gonna say double Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. I was surprised that Gauntlet didn't make. I know it makes a honorable mention later on, but I was surprised that
Yeah,
it didn't
I
make the
feel like
list.
he purposely left
What?
stuff out so that just to cause controversy so people would talk about it.
So here's the actual original Bubble Bobble, which I remember playing in the arcade. I didn't remember playing the second one, but I guess what would you call? Would you say it's more like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or?
I just think it's cute little dragons blowing bubbles. I mean, they're so adorable.
Oh yeah, I know. But you could definitely see the Pac-Man in it.
Yeah.
You know, with just you know a maze level. So coming in at number 7, we've got Ghouls and Ghosts, 1988. You remember playing this?
I remember it, and I remember a big deal about this was you could shoot up,
Right.
which like you really like in a side scroller was all usually everything was horizontal, and this you were kind of able to fire vertically.
You know, when they bounce over your head like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just giving a little depth like that really adds a lot to the immersion. You know,
I
although I
wonder if
never
they
felt
actually
like I.
even did. You think they used words like immersion back in the 80's?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might be retro, using that. So coming in at number 6, Operation Wolf. So we can't see it, but there's probably a gun. It's like a light gun, right?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there shooting everything on the screen.
Funny, I would have included rather than this game as a if you're gonna have an entry for an army game, either Ikari Warriors or Contra,
Oh
and
yeah,
it didn't make
definitely.
the list.
Maybe not Contra because that'd be more like an NES game, but definitely Akari Warriors, which was an NES. I think that one was ported to the NES.
Yeah.
I think that was originally an arcade game, and you know, you would be the blue guy, I'd be the red guy, and
Right. But this, yeah. I didn't
number
even remember
5.
this game. That reminded me more of like a Time Crisis type of game. Outrun.
So Outrun, where we could would actually be in a car with her.
What was good about Outrun was like more than pole position, they'd have like two different roads, and it was like you were choosing which road you were going down, which gave it more. You didn't feel like it was so linear.
Right. We don't want to use the immersion word, but it gave depth to the game. Um, and I'm pretty sure this came out for home consoles too. I don't think we ever had it at home, but it was definitely something we played in the arcade. Number 4, we have R-Type, which I remember I wanted to tell you. I had no idea what this game was.
Yeah, this one I didn't have a memory of it.
And like to make number 4 over some of the games we've seen, it just tells you that some people have different experiences. Like I just never really experienced this. Maybe WizzGamer, this was his local pizzeria, and like
Right.
he's got
Yeah.
great memories playing it. But I, have zero. I mean, that part looks cool with the maybe that's a boss,
Yeah. I
the
mean,
alien looking.
for one of these, if it's an early side scroller, I mean, those graphics are pretty good.
No. So number 3, we've got
Not that early
Strider.
though. I think it was like mid to late 80's.
Again,
Strider.
Strider, a game it doesn't look familiar to me. And
Yeah.
these are games that he's putting in, now in his top 3. And it's not so much like, oh, I played it and didn't like it. I have no memory of this, and I
Yeah.
would
No.
remember a big brontosaurus booty like that.
Yeah, that would have looked cool though.
Yeah. I shall raise this city up to the sky and rid the earth of all creatures.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound cool.
I mean, his movement animation is pretty cool.
Yeah. Maybe we just had, horrible arcade. All right, so Final Fight, this is definitely, I would still love to do that pile driver. Um,
Yeah.
and this was sort of like Double Dragon, except with, I don't know if I'd call it better graphics.
I
It's
feel like
different
it's
graphics.
it is better graphics. I feel like it's Double Dragon with Street Fighter 2 graphics.
Okay. Maybe Street Fighter 1, not to,
All
argue
right.
about it, but, um, I felt like Double Dragon, had better, like, depth to the world you were in, whereas these are sprite backgrounds. So now we get to their
Well,
honorable
I mean, you
mentions, and
just saw that.
we'll
Like,
just
I
talk
mean,
about them.
it literally had some Street Fighter backgrounds.
Yeah.
But I think actually it was supposed to be like a sequel to Street Fighter
So
before
this
Street Fighter
one,
2.
Rastan, speaking of music, always to me had the best music.
Oh yeah,
But it
that's
was
actually my
also like
ringtone. I put it as
so.
my ringtone. No, that's
So
not true.
I remember playing this on an emulator, and we would get all the turtles purple, and just see how long we could last with them all being purple. Dragon's Lair was like the best game ever that you can play for 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was good if you could just watch someone else play it because it was too frustrating.
Gauntlet, I remember mostly for letting my kids play on an emulator and putting like $100 in, just like
Just so
da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
they could like go forever.
Yeah. Altered
Altered
Beast
Beast is
is
another Sega one, right?
yeah, yeah.
This is
So you could
Wonder
probably
Boy
do
and
a
Monsterland.
Vigilante is looks like Kung Fu.
Yeah, I mean they probably just use the same exact code, change the graphics.
Yeah, and so his number one is Pac-Man, which hard to go wrong with Pac-Man. Uh, Very replayable. I personally like for how old we were. I'm a Miss Pac-Man guy. Like my memory of playing Pac-Man is more Miss Pac-Man, and like where they meet. I remember
Oh
like the
yeah,
storytelling of
you
it,
like that
and
little kiss?
like the kiss, and then they go up, and then the ghosts go boop. So
What sound did the ghost make?
boop.
A boop. Are they Italian? A
Yeah.
boop.
So you have any overall takeaways of WizzGamer's comprehensive list of 25
It's a
plus
good list.
honorable
That
mention?
the I think four through three through one, no, four through two is a little suspect.
All right, everyone. Thanks for taking this stroll down memory lane with us.
Yeah, let us know if there's any you think he missed.